That's visible. That's fine. I'll put some light on. So I'm just, I'm just winging it. You don't know what setup I've got here. I've got my jacket stuffed there to hold this phone up so I don't need to hold my phone. I just, Tesco's. Yeah, and just doing a wee update on my channel just to let my viewers know what I'm doing regarding the big banger race weekend that I attended at Lochgelly Raceway. I done lots of footage, filming and videoing and that for all day Saturday and Sunday. It was a great turnout of bangers. There was about 70 of them. It was the Micro World Cup banger racing, and it was absolutely brilliant. So I follow the sport a lot. Hello, whoever's joined. Yeah, just a quick channel update. Because I've got so much footage, it's going to take a wee while to, edit them in, but I will get them done as soon as I can, It was a big turnout, lots of good crashes and smashes and that. So got all the photos and videos. I really enjoyed it. It was the weather as well, but it was very cold. So my hands were a bit, I just hope it wasn't shaking too much because it was quite shivery. It was quite shivering actually, it was quite cold. But I'd rather that than rain. So I'm going to also send some of the video clips that I've taken for some drivers wanted to see, the Pacific cars that I managed to get on the footage. So what I'll do is I'll make an edit for that and I'll send it to them privately in the messages. But all that footage will be included in the main videos anyway. But it's just about the amount of stuff I've got to do because I'm working tomorrow and working for 4 days. Got loads of stuff to do, but I will be getting round to it as soon as possible. So just keep tuned to my channel and just wait and see when I'll put them up ASAP. Because what I tend to do is edit them all. There's an easy way I could do it. I could just join them all and put them up, but I don't like to do that. I like to put in this sort of edit as well. I like the beginning, the introduction. I highlight all the crashing and Pacific rollovers. I'll zoom in on it and I'll crop the video and fill the screen up with the action shots, and I'll replay them as well. And it takes ages, that's the thing, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a good job on this one because this one was a very big event for the year. It was the World Cup for the micro bangers, and it's great because, as I say, the turnout was really good. 70 odd bangers, and when the more bangers they are, the more action there is, and that's how I like it. So yep, they're definitely going to be getting that on my channel soon. So I'm gonna keep up with all the other racing that I could manage to attend. The thumbnail that I used for this live was taken today. It was one of the bangers that had a massive hit into the barrier at the wall. Basically, it's the ringside, and the car just folded right in. So the drivers are okay, that's the most important thing. Although there was, they get shaken, sometimes they could get hurt a little bit, they limping out, but they got out, and the sport is quite a rough sport, so the drivers will get bruising and hit, because it's really hard hits that go in the banger race. It's not for the faint-hearted, but they do walk away out of it, and that's the main thing. And there's all the safety measures that get taken place. They've got the bangers have got to have a roll bar up one side, along the roof and down the other, and across the centre that way. So it's a niche bar, and that basically, and also there's a door plate, a thick door plate that goes across the driver door on the outside, and it goes across the A pillar and B pillar, and all that does is protect any side impacts, and that's it. All the rest of the car is just standard road car. They don't strengthen them anyway, but they have to move the fuel tank, or they drain the original fuel tank, so there's no fuel in it, and they put in a solid tank on the itch frame, you know, for fuel, obviously for obvious reasons, so it doesn't burst in an impact. There's just preparations like that. The back to basic bangers tend to keep the original radiators and all the stuff, dashboards and all the rest of it. It's basically keeping it as basic as possible. But the national bangers, which tend to have the massive hits, they move the radiators sometimes in the inside to the car, or they put a big solid tank, steel tank that goes on the bulkhead, or the firewall rather, and they fill that up with gallons of water, and that circulates around the engine and acts as the coolant. Because a traditional radiator, in the last 2 seconds, you know, in an impact, it'll just burst, and then the engine just overheats, and that's it. But the bangers, the national bangers, have the radiators moved either inside, although I have seen it on some of them, but on other venues I've been. But normally it's a steel tank, as I say. It's you know, bulletproof. It's got to be quite solid, like, you know. But I had a great time. I had a great weekend. There was other formulas. I had micro bangers. Micro bangers. I had mini stocks, junior productions as well. These are for the children. They could be really young, from up to, I think is it 11 to 16? I think it is for minis, and back to basics. Junior production. I think it's 11-year-olds to 16-year-olds that do them. Maybe, and sure, there's formulas that do it even younger, as young as 8-year-old. Although I think that's more ninja cards and micro F2s. But the minis is based on the old Austin minis from the 50s, 50s, 60s, right up to the 90s. In fact, it's basically the body shell. If you don't know, this is obvious to anybody that knows stock cars, but those that don't know about it, it's basically just the shell of the original Mini. Same engine, transmission, all the rest of it, and they have a roll cage. It's fully armoured, meaning the whole lot has got framework inside and outside as well, so it doesn't buckle up in an impact. So the Mini stocks were on junior productions are basically like just your Corsas, Fiesta size, or Class B size of car. Class A car is like a Super Mini. Class B is like Minis, Fiestas, Corsas. Class C is this sort of size. This is my dad's Ford Focus. I haven't got, my car's getting repaired. I've got an Octavia, but that's getting the engine overhauled. So I'm borrowing my dad. This is basically Class C. Class D is a bigger car. That would be like your Mondios and Vauxhall Insignias, stuff like that. And they tend to, if they're going to have 2 litre bangers, it's usually the big Class C cars with 2 litre engines, or Class D cars that have the 2 litre engines in them. But the micro bangers are small cars like the Minis, the Nissan Micra is a popular one, Ford Fiesta, that sort of size of car in that class. And I think the engines are limited to 1400cc, I think, for the micro bangers. Oh, getting something coming through in the, what happened to the bus? That was a nasty accident, that. Yeah. I hope that the driver makes a speedy recovery. I really do. It was a shock to see that. But it's just like what the news. It's like what the news has said. You know, the media and that, the ITV News has basically said, you know, the driver's in hospital. So, but it's obviously they've got to investigate everything. But that's all kept, you know, confidential. Like, you know, I don't know any more than basically what's publicised by the ITV News and that. But I hope the driver, I hope he recovers, he or she. I hope they recover. I hope they recover, make a speedy recovery. I hope he or she makes a speedy recovery, you know. it's a horrible thing. It was a shock when you see such a thing happening. But anyway, yeah, I hope they make a speedy recovery. But yeah, what was I saying? Forgotten all. Yeah, the micro bangers. I'm sure the engines are limited to 1400 cc on them, and there was loads of them. They had visitors up from, participants that took place in the racing, came up as far as Cornwall, Devon actually. It's just hundreds and hundreds of miles away, so people travel for miles and miles. And there was somebody that was parties that came across overseas, over water. So I think that would be Ireland there, because it came on the Tara. There's visitors from all over the place. World Cup, so it's a big event. And it was over the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday today. So I've got 2 videos. There'll be Saturdays, and there'll be the today's as well, which is the Scottish Cup for the micro bangers. But that was brilliant though. I had a great time. And just absolutely knackered. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that the footage will be up soon. I'm going to edit it all. But because I've got so much to do, I'll be working Monday to Thursday. Oh God, I'll be knackered. But enough when my days off, I'll be getting on with it. So I'm aiming to get it up some point, possibly later on next week. As I say, I could put them up as they are, but I'd rather add my, the special effects. If you've seen my videos with the bangers, I like to slow the footage down sometimes and zoom in. I mean, when you're at you can't beat being at the trackside and being close to the action. That you'll never beat that. It's always the experience being there. Like you smell all the burning rubber and all the other things that go on. The exhaust, you're in the atmosphere, you got all the crowds as well. Loch Ellie's different from Cowdenbeath, the Racewell, which is a couple of miles down south from it. That was Scotland's, Crimmond as well. There's one up in Crimmond, which is nicknamed the North Pole. But Loch Ellie's got trackside parking, so you could, on cold nights or cold weekends, because it was freezing. Well, my hands were cold anyway, but you could retreat to your car, you could drive round the trackside and you could view it from there, and or you could just park there and then go to the trackside. That's what I'd do, and then I'd go back in the car and warm up. But that option's there. You could do that if you're ever visiting. I mean, this will be obvious to those that know the Loch Ellie, but for anybody that doesn't and you want to go, you could do that. Crimmond's the same. You could park around the trackside up there as well. That's miles up between Peterhead and Fraserburgh. Cowdenbeath doesn't have that, but that's round the Cowdenbeath Central Park football pitch. The tarmac stock car circuit, the oval, is round the circumference of the football pitch at Cowdenbeath, so it's impossible to have trackside parking at Cowdenbeath, but they do have the stadiums and that where you could, there's tons and tons of seats there because it is a football ground. So if you've never been to stock car racing, in fact I bumped into someone the day that hadn't been often, and they really enjoyed the action. It's great. I mean, I'll tell you, I like to bring it to my channel and share it with those that watch my channel. I like to show the action as much as I can, but I'll be getting it up soon. There was a rollover and a fire. Drivers were fine, the driver got out okay, but the car flipped down the road, then it went on fire. In fact, I was zooming in on that particular banger because it sounded like the exhaust manifold was just ruptured or something, because the exhaust gases and the exhaust sound was just coming straight out of the engine. Sounded absolutely brilliant, powerful, excellent. I've done it with an old car of mine as well, not in the circuit, although I've had a shot of banger racing, but I had an old the car that was finished with, and it was just going to get scrapped, and I've arranged to get the exhaust manifold taken off just to see what it was like with it off. and it was bloody loud, and you saw the flames coming with the exhaust ports. You couldn't really drive around. Yeah, you wouldn't drive on the road with it like that. It was done on private ground, by the way, but you couldn't do that on the roads because with a high pressure injection system and fuel, and you've got flames under the bonnet, it's a definite no-no. I was ready. I had a fire extinguisher there, and the bonnet was up a little bit, but it sounded great, and there was flames coming at the front. You know, not big flames. You could just see the flames at the exhaust port because that's where the gases come out. Basically, the exhaust gases come out the engine via the cylinder head. You know, the exhaust valve opens, then it goes through the cylinder head, out through the exhaust port, into the, well, modern cars now have a catalytic converter. And then from there it goes under the car into maybe another catalytic converter. My car has got two. I don't know about my dad's one. That might just have the one, because mine's the turbo. So you comes out the engine through turbo, then through catalytic converter, and then in my car's case, and then another catalytic converter, and then two silencers, and then out the tailpipe, out the back. So you can imagine it's cools down and it's silenced and treated, but you can imagine what it's like coming out the engine. It's just raw engine sound, raw exhaust sound. I mean, that's sort. I don't know, that particular banger, it sounded like it was like that. And then because I was focused in on it, and then it done a good hit, smashed into another car, and then it flipped over, it rolled, then it went on fire, the engine went on fire, just briefly. The driver got out, nobody was hurt. But the fire, there's marshals all around the track, there's fire extinguishers all over the place, so they were quickly there on the scene to put it out. It was just a flashover. I got all that on film. So look out for that. See, what I tend to do with that is I'll zoom in on that and I'll get the camera, edit it so it's a close-up, and then I'll add all the music that I made because it suits it, and I'll put the other effects in as well, the overlayers and overlaps, and get all that footage in. Sort of try and get it in so it's like a sort of a bit of a daze, because it's quite surreal, really. I don't know if, when you're at the trackside and if you haven't done banger racing at all, and you see the crashes and you get used to seeing them, it's easy to start to scale them. You think, oh, that was just a wee hit, that was a big hit, because you get accustomed to it. But the wee hits, you don't really appreciate how hard it is unless you're in it. I mean, I tried it a few times. Well, 2006 was unofficial. It was unofficial. It was on an unofficial ground. It was in an old yard, an old scrapyard. I wouldn't name it because I wouldn't do that. 2007 was at Birmingham Wheels Extreme Dodgems. I had a shot at that, summer 2007. Then I went to a company called Cecil's Rent-A-Rookie that built a banger for me for the 2010 London Gala weekend. That was a big, huge one. I was in the 1600 class. There was loads of bangers. I had unlimited bangers on that one as well. I was in the 1600 class. Then I had another shot in 2011 with the same company. I had a Vauxhall Astra Estate for the first one. I'd done not too bad on that, I thought. Had a big crash in the other heat, like, it went smack. There was a car there on the wall, and my car had it, and then I done a 180. Was it 180? No, 90 degrees, I think it was. It was facing that way anyway. But the one at Ipswich was a sore one. Even some of the seasoned banger race drivers, I've done it for years, even they said it was a sore. I was sitting on the end of the back straight, and there were two bangers, one in the set. There's three abreast going down. My engine conked out. It was an Astra, a hatchback. It let me down, and I was just sitting on the end of the back straight, and two bangers and one in the centre. The one in the centre had nowhere to go. He was flat out, probably about 55, 60 miles an hour, straight into my back of my stationary car. The back wheels were up near enough against the back of the driver's seat. That was enough for me. I had a shot. But all throughout the what's going on? The meeting, even just getting spun round, I still get this feeling, because you can't turn your head. There's no rear view mirror. There's no wing mirrors. So you don't know when it's going to happen. And then you get hit, because it's, experienced. It throws your like that. You feel it, and then suddenly, before you know it, you're facing the oncoming because you've done a 180. And you see, there was one instance where the rear coil spring got knocked right out the axle on my car, and I was flipped around. The traffic was coming towards me, the bangers, and I saw my own spring coming towards us. I got knocked out the back of the trailing arm on the Astra's, the body what's there, the spring there, the trailing arm. Well, I got just knocked right out. I can't remember what side it was. Sitting facing the traffic coming towards me, like, it wasn't bad. It was brilliant, but it was adrenaline rush. But that was 12 years ago, and I said after the real hard one, nah, that's enough for me. So, but the wee hits might not look much, but believe you me, when you're in it, it feels a lot more. So I tend to try and emphasise that on my videos. I try and, you know, make it more so you can appreciate how hard these hits are actually going in. There's massive forces involved in a crash. I mean, the footage is, you know, there's 3 impacts that happen in a car crash. You've got the 2 cars that collide, then you've got the occupants or anything that's in it colliding with the inside, then you've got the organs of the body colliding with the inner body. There's a lot of things that go on in an impact. I learnt that from science. I sort of studied, I like science and physics, and this sort of researched into a lot of the stuff about the crashing and that. So I had my own sort of effects to my videos as well. Something came up. So you going to any abandoned? I'm going to abandoned places. Yeah, I want them to. I've never forgot about that. I've always been saying that. I definitely will be. Just be with my channel. Like, I mean, it's just, you know, the urge is always there for me to do it, and I'm going to do it. As soon as I get the opportunity to do it, I'll be getting in some of these old buildings and getting some videos made of it. Definitely will be, yeah. Can definitely be doing more of that in the future. It's on the cards. I've got plans to do that. My mate Kean and Dave Casellas, he's got his channel. They hear the channel called 156. Explorers, Black Explorers 156. I've done explorations, but I've not seen them for a while. Me and my other mate could do it. There's a place just outside Edinburgh. Apparently there's an old hospital or something I heard that's abandoned. I was thinking of going back to the Clune Park housing estate to do an update. It's dubbed Scotland's Chernobyl. I done a video on that about 2 years ago, so I might go back there again. It's just because I've got that much, but I've never forgotten I will be doing it. Trust me, I've not forgot about it, and I want to do it, and I'm going to be doing more of them again. Yeah. Yeah, just thinking of the other thing. Just kind of, you know, when you've gone on, you know, when you're on a live and you're going to say something, it just goes out your mind. Always happens. As soon as I go off, it'll come back to me. It never fails. It always happens that way. I forgot what I was going to say now. Just gone right in my mind. But yeah. It'll come back to me again, and just what the heck was it? I've just gone right in my head now. Dave Cargill, yeah, my mate Dave Cargill and Kean as well. I mind what he's not put stuff on his channel for a while, but the last one we done was together was the old Strathmartin Hospital. And we've done that in the small hours. That's gone right in my mind, whatever it was, it'll come back to me. But anyway, for the bangers, there's going to be, I believe, an event on the New Year. They usually have van bangers on, and it's usually about the second Saturday in January. It's either at Kildenbeath or Lochgelly. Normally it's at the race wall at Kildenbeath. So if I'm able to go, I'll be going, and I'll get the footage of that. I hope to get my car repaired and ready for next month, November, and planning on going down to visit, because I've got my winter holidays, you see. So I'm planning on going down to visit Oxford, the city of Oxford in England, and also, if there's time, Bath the city of Bath or the town of Bath or whatever it's town or city. And if I could even squeeze in Blackpool as well. I know I'm ambitious, like, but if my car isn't ready, then I'd have to see if I could commandeer my dad's car and go down in this one. I hope mine's will be ready. But the plan will be to go down and, well, I've never been to, well, I've driven through Oxford, I've owned it, I'd buy it, I've never really spent any time in it. But I want to go into Oxford. I've heard stories about Oxford lately regarding it being all this 15-minute city carry on, and not one for that. I really don't like the idea of any of that rubbish. It's just a freedom destroyer, but I want to see it before any of that happens, because I've heard this Oxford Dictionary, Oxford, it's like a university sort of place, but I've been wanting to go and see it anyway, so I'll be videoing that also. I was checking for to see if there was any banger race events on, because down in England there's a lot of venues that do banger racing, because, you know, England being a lot more populated. There's only 3 main ones in Scotland, and as I said, that was Crimmon, which is nicknamed the North Pole because it's so far north. It's between Peterhead and Fraserburgh on the A90. Then you've got Lochgelly, which actually opened in April 2010. I was there on its opening day. I remember it well. There were 1,300 stock cars. One done a flip and done a rollover, and it left a scar on the tarmac. I don't know where it was, where it happened. It was right on corner, actually, be corner 2, I think it was going to be referred to. But yeah, I was there when it opened. Kilkenbeath, the race ball, that's been open since, is it 70s or something? 60s, 70s, something like that. It's been there for ages, like. But that's really only the 3 main stock car circuits in Scotland. You've got like Knockhill, which is a racing circuit. Occasionally they used to do stock cars. They used part of their track, and they used to do stock car racing on a Wednesday back in 2004, 2005, thereabouts, 2006. But they never done bangers, but they did do pro stocks. That's like semi-contact bangers. Pro stocks are just like bangers in a way, but they've got the radiators kept in them, and they're designed, it's more semi-contact rather than, you know, destroying the cars. It's just nudge and spin kind of thing. But they use standard road cars, and they've done that as well as other formulas at Knockhill at one time. But England's got loads of venues up and down the country. I was hoping to coincide, because the winter holidays I got were allocated to me, and I was hoping I could maybe do all that while I'm down there, because when I'm travelling hundreds of miles, I like to try and do as much as I can. I like to visit these places. If there's any banger racing, I'd like to visit and get the footage, and well, I like to go there because I love being there, and whilst I'm there I'll also get the footage to share with my viewers. I hope you enjoy it. Oh hi, Anonymous. I was just looking through the chats that come up, and they just appear up sometimes. They don't. It's a funny thing. I don't really quite follow all these things work, because the chat sometimes just doesn't really go, you know, up more. It just freezes, and then other times if I hit that to try and scroll down it, see it. I'm not an expert at this, you know. Whatever. I could see some of them anyway. Sometimes you get that arrow right in the way, but doesn't matter. I'll just figure it out. I'll just wing it, as they say, and if something comes up, I'll try and see what happens. I'm just trying to get this to balance, because I've got my jacket stuffed in the steering wheel. I've got that there to balance this up. It's just a balancing act. Something's come through now. All over Dundee. Oh, right. I went somewhere there. Went through the Lake District to Blackpool and Chester and down to Bath, yeah, and Bristol. It was great driving. And parking is absolutely nightmare, yeah. Parking, yeah, London. These towns and that usually are congested a lot. I mean, they've got more parking restrictions out in the countryside as well. When I was down in the Lake District years and years ago, I remember, like, see in Scotland, if you're in the country, there's a lay-by, it's free normally, but in England, in these areas, they've got like metered, or the ones I passed were metered parking, and I was like, oh gosh, because of the magnitude of visitors and the density, it's more densely populated, so they have more regulations for parking and that. But yeah, parking's just a pain in the arse, it really is. I hate trying to find a place to park, and then when you do, it's usually expensive. These cleaners. Yeah, clean air, this Yule's thing. Oh, I don't want to rant about Yule's. I hate this Yule's carry on. It's just a freedom destroyer. That's just my view on it anyway. I just don't like the idea. There's tons and tons of stuff online that show reports of lots of resistance with this Yule's ultra low emission zone. There's lots and lots of reports of resistance online that show there's lots of resistance. Me personally, I don't like the idea of having my freedom taken away. And it just does not seem. There was a point that was made, actually. Somebody made an interesting point, I read. And it says, well, it's not going to stop pollution if someone could afford to pay this Yule's fee, $12.50 every time you go into if the Yule's on, if your vehicle isn't compliant, then it's not going to stop the actual pollution. But see, my thing as well is that it just makes it seem like they want to make it. If the wind's blowing as well, it's just. How could pollution just sort of like stop there? The air's just going to blow it elsewhere. If it's not in the Yule's zone, then it's just going to blow in anyway. Is it going to make a difference? And I can't help think, but that's maybe what they want us to think of it as like. So it just makes us see it isn't going to work, which in turn has this idea in our heads that, well, if we know it's not going to work, then you can almost understand that they're going to make it even tougher, because I'm no expert on it, but I just wonder, if it's winds, it's just going to blow the emissions in the different zones anyway. So, and like something I read, it's not going to stop the actual vehicles coming in if they could afford to pay it, And again, that's what they probably want us to feel, so then we could see that if they make it even harder, which I don't even want it in the first place. But it's like, see, I don't want to sort of say that because, like, problem, reaction, solution is a thing that if you see, no, I'm not going to go into that because it's not really, I don't want to do that, but I will say this. I've watched and listened, and I've even met. God, I don't know if I should be. I've met David Icke. If you don't know who he is, it's probably just easier if you Google him up, then you get much better knowledge in that. But I don't want to go into that. But David Icke has said in his books and mentions a thing called problem, reaction, solution. And it mentions that if a problem has been created and they deliberately want people to react by wanting a solution to the problem, they offer then a solution to the problem that they've covertly made. So, like, for example, now I just like to stay impartial and neutral to this, so I just only saying what's out there already. There's books, and there's podcasts, and there's events, and there's shows, and there's talks where you could do that anyway and meet David Icke. But I haven't met him personally. Met sort of past his brother at one of the events, or his son, sorry, Gareth Icke. But again, and sort of coming away off a different. I don't really want to be talking about this just now, but so if they create a problem covertly, for example, like I can't say that, but Yuli's. No, I can't because I'm making quotations. Don't quote me on that. I'm not going to do that. But you can just imagine the principle. If a problem is created covertly, and you get you want in the public, no, I'm just going to stop at that. No, forget it. Just I don't like Yuli's. I don't want it, but I don't know why I go into it too much. But I tend to go off it. I'm not going to do that. But David Icke's books and David Icke's talks, and he nails a lot of stuff on the head when it comes to seeing it from a different perspective. He puts it across very well, and it's very interesting. No, I'm just listening to it. But the Yuli's thing, in my opinion, I don't like it. So I'm going down to Bath, and I'm going to go down to Oxford before these places become this 15-minute city. This 15-minute city idea. I don't like that either. I hate the idea of it. It seems to me it's like another freedom destroyer. That's my view and opinion of it at this moment in time. That's what I think of it. I just think it's just a load of. So I'm going to go down before. I can't go down. I don't know just how it's going to happen, but I also like to learn to see what's happening. There's another thing that's happened as well in Wales. There's this 20 mile an hour zone carry on. Again, what's the point? I mean, it's going to make more pollution, if anything, if you believe in that. I mean, the pollution thing is there's other ideas on that as well. I mean, they say, I remember back in 1990, they said global warming, and now climate change. And I've heard that it's natural, and I've heard different views on climate change and all the rest of it. I mean, we need carbon dioxide to get by. And that seems to be the one that's demonised, this carbon footprint thing. But, yeah, I've got different views on it. I made a video driving. Oh, I made a video driving through Dundee in 1999. Aha, yeah, I would. Oh, is that Jim? Oh, hi, Jim. Hi, yeah. How you doing? Tell us what you feel about the Yuli's. Oh, Jim. Oh, no, I'll tell you how I feel about the Yuli's. I just hate Yuli's. I just don't like the idea of it. It's a freedom. Actually, before I get to that, Jim, there was a thing there that all over Dundee mentioned. I'll get back to that in a minute. It says I made a wee video driving through Dundee in 1999. Yeah, I would like to see that. There is all over Dundee. I'm sure I've seen one of your videos before, all over Dundee. Did you do one in 1994? Because I've got a question to ask you. There's something I spotted on one of these videos, the 1994 one. I think it was your channel, all over Dundee. I'll give you a moment to reply back, but did you do a drive round in 1994? There's a couple of things that I've got to mention. I'll give you a moment to reply. So yeah, Jim, Yuli's, what I think of it, how I feel about it. I feel it's a freedom destroyer, and that's just my feeling. Because, oh gosh, I mean, does it really? How is it going to work? I mean, if it's, I'm no expert, but the wind, surely is that now just going to blow pollution out with the boundaries of the Yuli's boundary? Somebody made a point as well that I found very interesting, is that if somebody could afford to pay let's say someone's got a car or a vehicle that's non-compliant with this Yuli's, then, and say they're minted, right, they've got loads of money to, $12.50 a day doesn't really, if somebody could afford to pay $12.50 a day without batting an eyelid, then that's not going to stop it, is it? Okay? So why are they targeting those that can't afford it? And all businesses that are going to suffer because of it as well. I mean, these are points that are made by, and I could see that as well. I mean, but anyway, I feel it's just when I feel it's a freedom destroyers because you know we're paying off to run a car, right, or vehicle or a business. So why are we now not allowed to do that? How not just have it so they can have the engines, a nice clean diesel or a nice clean petrol and just keep doing that. How is it going to work? I mean, how is it, like, as I say, if the polluted, or what they call the polluting vehicles are out with the boundaries of Ulis, then what's to stop the wind just blowing it into the Ulis zone anyway? I mean, I just don't quite get that. And there's other things like with the electric vehicles, the fuel that's spent and used in producing them and transporting them, and the waste after the batteries and that. I'm just putting listen, bear with me, I'm just going to put the heating on a wee bit. It's freezing. That's the thing when you're in a car, it gets cold so quick. Better not. Oh, something came through. Hang on. Yeah, I put the 1984 video up. Ah, the cobblestones. You knew about that. That's the one. Gosh, I was watching your video, Oliver Dundee, from 1994. It's really bizarre. Could you remember it ever being tarmac? I never ever remember Exchange Street or Castle Street being tarmacked. I used to work at the Halfords up at 1A, Halfords, in 1994, the same year he's done that video, in 1995. And I've lived in Dundee all my life, and I've went down that way loads of times, and I've always known Castle Street and Exchange Street to be cobblestones. I even remember a reason specifically why it was cobblestones. Well, a specific reason of something that happened because it was cobblestones. I was in a vehicle that I was a passenger. I was in a vehicle that lost control because of the wet cobbles. But I will not say any more details on that. But it was because they were wet, and that's another reason that will stick in my memory. They were definitely cobbles. And yet your video is very, I like your video, but I'm also a believer in the phenomena called the Mandela effect. Gosh, that is another big thing. The Mandela effect phenomena is not an easy concept to explain, because I don't find it an easy concept to explain. I always say though, when I mention the Mandela effect phenomenon, as you probably know if you already know me, if you're interested in the Mandela effect phenomenon, do your own searching or researching on it yourself and come to your own conclusion about it. It's a tricky one. It's a hard one to explain easily with the languages that we use and the momentum with the way, but well, for me I find it hard. But how do you say it? I mean, it's like how do you say it? I mean, history changing would be, it's along those lines. It's a really, really big, major thing, and that came to mind when I noticed about the cobblestone. So I'm getting some more messages. My friend Craig says fuel is cheap. How mad is that? Aye, the fuel is cheap. Yeah, a lot of it's just taxing, is it? I heard they say the message is going off. This is what. Oh, there we go. I heard the phrase being mentioned that motorists they're just piggy banks, mobile piggy banks. So if they want money, they just sting the motorists for everything. Heavy tax on everything. All the clips too that get scrapped. The bus. It was. Well, I don't know, but I think I'm just going to guess. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with it, because it's under. When there's an accident like that, any serious accident, the vehicles are taken. They investigate it. That's just standard. Whether it's a bus, car, anything like that, it's standard I think it's standard procedure that they take them away. And what they also do, once they've done all the investigation, for if a vehicle has a serious accident, and I believe that they check it over for any, that's my guess. And if it's an old vehicle, because these buses, they were, I don't know if it's going to be worth repairing or what, I don't know. I don't really know, but the model of bus is an Eclipse 2, and the Eclipse 2s came out, the Dundee ones came in Dundee in 2011, so it's 12-year-old. I remember back in 1989, there was a Volvo Ailsa Mark 1 that was 12-year-old, and it had a bump on Forfar Road, and it was nowhere near as serious as that, and they scrapped that. So I could say that that was 34 years ago. I don't know what they'll do with the bus. I can't say. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. I just hope that the driver will make a speedy recovery, and the vehicles could be replaced, but people can't. So I just hope that they recover quickly. That's, like I say, it was on the ITV News, so I'm only just saying what the news has said anyway. I couldn't tell you anymore. But with any serious accidents, everything's confidential, So, and you work with a company, you've got to. They always tell you that whatever goes on in a company is confidential, and that's it really, There's one thing I never did and never will do is anything like that. I'll never ever, I wouldn't be putting stuff like that online, because it's respect for the driver or any, those that are involved. It's not, obviously someone's house as well, I respect. It was an accident, so I've got to respect the privacy of those involved, and the company, anything that goes on in the company, it's confidential. So I couldn't tell you, I don't know. But as I said, I remember years and years ago there was back in 1989, that Mark 1 Volvo Ailsa. It was about the same age, and there was a car hit it on I believe it was a car. I wasn't on the bus, but I heard it was a car that hit it. It was scrapped it. So I've lost where I'm in the chats. Where are we? Yep, definitely has been cobbled. Oh yeah, so all over Dundee. So you remember Castle Street and Exchange Street always being cobbles. So what do you think when you see your video and it shows it as tarmac? Does that not make you sort of, would you not be amazed? I'm totally over the moon with it. I was sitting in the living room, I was showing my mates and my dad a big screen. We were going through old historical videos, and we came across yours. And as soon as I saw that, I could not believe what I was seeing. The other thing, I think you done one with later on in the 90s. There was a fleet of buses that were city buses, Volvo B10M city buses. There was one on the 28, and I think it was just before. It was a 1988 one, I think it was. I think it was one of your 1988 videos. But I showed a Volvo B10M city bus. It didn't come to Dundee until 1989, November. It was an Alexander bodied RV type Volvo B10M city bus, part of the 91 to 105 fleet. They were registered G91 PES to G105 PES. I remember them coming brand new in November in 1989, but one of your videos in 1988 showed one of them going up the Lochie Road on the 28. So it's a possible another Mandela effect, but they cobblestone ones, my God, that is something else. That is amazing. I've seen lots of odd things, but that's another one adds to the list. Definitely always been cobbles. Oh yeah. when you see, because when you see that crash scene, it's surreal, it's shocking, it's shocking. Puts a shiver down you when you see it, like it did with me. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Yeah, it is nuts, like, it's nuts. Yeah, it's quite something, like, it doesn't just happen. I've seen things like that happen all in the country, apparently. I've seen pictures of them online. Similar shocking crashes, and when you see the footage, it's just, it kind of makes you like, bloody hell, again. And when you see it firsthand, you're like, Jesus. I just hope everybody's okay. That's the number one thing, is hope that everybody involved will be alright. That's the number one and the only, the number one thing, like, But yeah, it was a horrific sight to look at. Just saying, but we're all meant to be using but just saw car at the station. Yeah, electric cars. The thing with electric cars, or electric vehicles, I think they should at least have the same range as the internal combustion engines range, at least the same, if not more. The charging time should be just as quick, if not quicker, than it would take to fill up a fuel tank for that propylene vehicle. So if it's a truck or a bus with a 300 litre tank and it'll take about half an hour to fill up, well, maybe not, but quite a while to fill up, 10 minutes or whatever, then it should take, I think it should take that length of time at least, no more than to fill up the batteries. Now, if they could put, the history said back in 1969 they could put a man on the moon. That's what the history reads. That's what it says happened, right? So going by what they said, then that was 54 years ago. Right, 54 years ago, the history says they could stick a man on the moon. So why can't they have a bloody car that could do a few hundred miles on a battery? Yet 54 years ago they could put a man on the moon, apparently. So what's the hold up? Why can't they not have the electric cars charging their, like, if a car, if to fill up a tank, like to fill this up with a tank of juice, a tank of petrol, take about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So it should be the same length of time to fill up the battery with charge, and it should do the same range for it to be marketed, I think. I just don't really, this is my view. I'm no expert, I'm only just saying what I think. What I think, that's all. I think they should have it like that way. That if they're going to have an electric vehicle, it should do at least the same range, if not more, and it should take no more, if not less, time to fill this battery up, be charged, as it would with the internal combustion counterpart, whether it's diesel fuel or whatever. If it's a bus or a truck that takes 10 minutes to fill the tank up, it should take about 10 minutes to fill the batteries up. If it's a car, it takes about a couple of minutes to fill the tank up. It should take the same time, if not less, to fill the battery up with charge. And then sell it for there should be the same number of garages, like motor garage, repair garages, auto services, all the infrastructure needs to be there before they market it. You should have it. So, like, if you could stick a man on the moon 54 years ago, how have they not done that with cars? And I heard that they had electric cars way back as far as 1900s. So what the fuck? Surely they could have had it, perfected, made to perfection by now. In a petrol, I like petrol cars because, and diesel, internal combustion engines, because of, I grew up with them. It's nostalgic, it's practical. I could just drive up, I could rock up to any garage and I could be sure as heck we'll get the fuel for the car I need. It's practical. But there's nostalgia there as well. I grew up with them and all the work, I watched my dad fix them and all the rest of it. Nostalgia. So yeah, I'm biased. But besides all that, if I were not taking that into consideration, going on just logic, if I had all these electric vehicles 100 years ago, back in 1900, then how the fuck have they not got electric vehicles that are made to perfection, like the way they've got the internal combustion engine? The Model T Ford was 1903 or something, and that was like, ancient now, But look at the most modern petrol car. It's refined. It's been refined. The petrol engines have been refined since 1900s to 2023. So how could they not have done that with electric cars then, if we really want to push this electric thing? And not one for it, because I'm biased, I'll be honest, and just a petrol head, because I like that's just nostalgic, but in the real world it's practical. I mean, I can't afford an electric car. Chris, I can barely afford a blooming petrol car, I don't mean an electric one. But the infrastructure's not there. It's not there as much, anyway. It's not there as much, and I've heard stories about difficulties in getting the cars charged. You could rock up to a charge point, it might not be working, there might be cars there already. That's really odd, actually, talking of that. And sure, they used to have charge points just over there in Tesco's, but now they're gone, I think they're gone. I mean, I don't know, I just... it's like with that pandemic and COVID. They tell you things about the lockdown, right? And then they go and do it themselves. Like you're saying there with the filling up your petrol, you know. That's what I've heard. So it makes you wonder there. I mean, they tell us to do something and they're going to do something else. You know, during the plant emic and con. Anyway, I won't say it because I've just got my own views on it, but we've all got our own views. And that's what's important. Yeah, I didn't even notice until I mentioned it. You didn't notice until I mentioned it. And just reading your comment all over Dundee, I didn't even notice until you commented. Yeah, I was astonished. You were astonished. But the more I looked at it, I think it may just be the quality of the video. You can't quite make it out. Well, we see. I think the quality's fine. Oliver Dundee, I looked at that video. You mentioned that it might just be the quality, but no, you see, what I've done is I zoomed right in on it, and it definitely looks like tarmac, because I think I'd done a comparison check as well. I did consider that at the time. I really went on, because like my dad's a bit of a skeptic, like, you know, he was saying it's this, it's that, and I've got to sort of say, well, it's definitely real. And he pointed it all out, it could just be the quality, you know. He'll never buy into this stuff, he's a skeptic, but no, I think the quality's fine. I think it's actually showing tarmac, because I looked at it, I magnified it. I also done, I compared the cobbles. You see on your video, the curb, the actual curb side is made of the curbstones, and at the joins of the curbstones you can see them on your video. So, he's not got lights on, but the cobblestones, if you can see the joins at the curbs, then you should be able to see the joins between the cobblestones, and there weren't any there, which means I also compared it with an existing roads, other roads like Commercial Street, other roads that were tarmacked. I compared the two, and it matches with tarmac, meaning like your video actually somehow recorded tarmac, but it was always cobbles. And you never noticed till I mentioned there's definitely something bizarre going on, like. There really is. I mean, I got really amazed that we've seen that, and you know, that's just something else. And the bus as well, the Volvo 9105, shown in your 1988 video when they came in November 89. There's also a story I could tell you about the 36 to 50 fleet, the Alexander RV type bodies. It's a long story, but I won't go on it in this video. It'll be way too long. Who's that? I have to say that is absolutely smashing. Yeah, that thumbnail I put up with the car, that was on. That happened today. It was racing. And the thing was, when it happened, I was at the other end of the track, but I heard it and I saw it. Well, there was a lot going on, and sure I saw it, but it was at the far end. But it was called a follow through, so Veden Gravitas not included. Chris, I have to say that is absolutely smashing. But that, as I say, the thumbnail that I put on there was the car went right into the wall at the trackside and the bang racing. I didn't get the full instant, but I'm sure it was a banger probably behind it or something. It's called fencing when you're driving a car right into. So you go behind it, ram it from behind and accelerate it, force it into the wall. So the car in front's going like this, trying to steer away, but the car behind's putting that much horsepower or power behind it. So the steering for the car in front's useless. It's just going to go where the car behind's taking it. So because it's banger racing, it's called national bangers. The fencing is what it's called. That manoeuvre is permitted. It's allowed. Just like driving the opposite way around as well. Under certain circumstances, I think they have briefings when when they go hell for leather, like to totally destroy the cars, like when they're last or near the end of the meeting, then all that sort of thing's allowed in the national bangers. Follow-throughs as well is another thing it's allowed. That's when there's a car. That might even be what I was describing. Fencing or follow-through, that's what it is. I think it's called a follow-in. Or follow-in is there's a car there and I would go straight, deliberately head on into the back and smash right in it. Well, that car on the thumbnail, that had I think it was fenced, so they're going flat out a bit because they race them in second gear, maximum rev, second gear. So you do the gear ratios, the RPMs, you can work out how fast it's going. It's somewhere around about 55 to 60 mile an hour. It'll be about 50, 60 miles an hour. Flat out as well, remember, because the throttle will be pedal wave to the metal, basically. So you can imagine how hard it's going to hit that wall with another banger behind it. So you can see the front end. It's meant to be parallel with the back. Oh, in that case, it's like that. Passenger wheel was near enough into the compartment. It's mental, like. But the one I had a shot at when I was down in London, when I hit the banger that was on the corner, it was a 1600. If you get the video of the London Ipswich, the London Gala night, I think it's Martin Hunt that did the videos. If you get the DVD, you know what I mean, video DVD, and watch the 1600 bangers, because I think there was about 3 formers on. It's a huge meeting, gala night. There's loads of bangers. I was in the 1600 ones, and there was a grey, because I think I was the only one from. I think I may have been the only one from Scotland, because I had a grey banger. I was number 743. I picked the 43, but I couldn't have that, so they had to put a 7 in front of it. I had the Scottish flag put on the doors. That's probably why I was the target. I just wanted a grey, but the Cecil's put on Cecil's Rent-A-Rookie. That's Stephen Ancrom, big company that does the bangers away down in Brighton, south of England. That's why I had to go down there to do it, because they wouldn't come all the way up here to Scotland just for one or a few people. So I had to go down. It's easier than me going down and doing the racing there, so I've done it. But if you get the video of the DVD, Martin Hunt, I think it was from the 2010 gala night in London, Wimbledon. If you look out for the grey Astra, the state Astra I had, and I think it was Heat 3, I think it was, you might just see my car going up, hitting the other one that was stationary, because there was bangers on my other side. I had nowhere to go, and I was flat out. It was going and it spun. It's called understeer, because I was trying to steer it that way. Oversteers with the back end flicks out. So if you're steering right and you oversteer, as it's called, the tail end will go like out the opposite way. So that's why you countersteer it. Understeer is if you're turning right but you're still going straight on. That's what happened to me. There must be an oil or something. I was flat out second gear, probably about there was 1600, so you probably got about 60, I think, on that. This is a 1600. Dad's car's a 1600. It's sidling. I can't remember what it was. I think flat out maybe 60 mile an hour. So came to an abrupt end, and the front end, I've got pictures anyway. If you look back some of the videos earlier ones, I put some of them up. But I felt if you had anything in your mouth, it would just come right out. You'd never ever do that or anything, because your teeth went like that. It happened. I can't even remember much about it. It's a fraction of a second. You just get a sort of light. You kind of like see a stars. It was like, it just happens just like that. I mean, honestly, that's why in my videos I use my experience to put that into the videos when I edit them, which I'll be doing for the bangers that I'm putting up. I try and slow it down and put my take on it and spin on it as to how it is, because everything, it's a fraction of a second. You're doing what, 60, and you're coming to an abrupt stop in about a second, fraction of a second. It's only your braking distance or stopping distance is from the bonnet, the length of your bonnet to the where it comes to rest. So you're doing the braking distance at 60 on a dry road. I mean, I should know that. It's X number of metres, right? But when you're in an impact, a crash like that, then if the fold, the crumple zone, that's your stopping distance. So you're stopping from 60 to about 0 in that much space, you know, an arm's maybe the length of your bonnet as far as it's pushed in, and that's where you're stopping in that distance. So the de-acceleration, the G-forces are absolutely massive. That's why you're like that. 6-point harnesses. All the banger race drivers will tell you that. All the seasoned ones and veterans, because I'm not a seasoned or a veteran banger race driver. I don't think I'll ever do it again. Not at my age now. I mean, what was that? 2010, 2011. If you same again, if you got Martin Hunt, you'll get the Ipswich one as well. It was 2010, the London one, 13 years ago. So I was 35. But the first time I done it was in 2006, unofficially on a scrapyard. I won't name it, but I don't know. It was in 2006, so I was 31. And the last time I done it was 2011, so it's 36. So I wouldn't. And I think I was always a natural one. I don't think I'll ever do it again. The guy said at the end of it, so is it same time next year? No way. No way. I've had enough shots, because I'll stay on this side of the fence now. I was a spectator for years before it. Anyway, and I thought I'd give it a shot, and still a spectator. I'll be a spectator indefinitely, you know. I've travelled the country, and I'll get as much footage. I mean, I go there because I love experiencing watching the event, and whilst in there I get the footage on the devices, the camera phones, and get it edited in to share with my viewers, to share with you lot. So, where am I? You like my hat? Yeah, I come on, I put different hats on to hide the grey hairs. Yeah, I had it on earlier the day because to say it was freezing, but so I'm going to turn this off because yeah, just stick it on. Hide the grey hairs. What else? What's the most fears you've had when alive before this? Please shout out. D-chimp. I can't mind. The most viewers, not that. See, the thing is with live chats is there's maybe not necessarily a great deal on at this precise moment. There's only showing 6 at the moment. I think the most I've seen is about 11. But the thing with a live is that if I keep it on public, it could be viewed by as many people going line. So the view numbers will go up after the live's ended. But during the live, the most I've had on, I think it's about 11. Something like that. But the thing as well is I don't know how accurate it is, because sometimes it fluctuates. I've seen it going up to, I've done a live before, I've seen it going up to about 4 or 5, sometimes up to 6, and it drops away down to 3, and then it goes up again, and it drops. At this moment it's fluctuating, it's at 6. It's just going up to 7 now. But then it could drop again, and it could drop again, and it could go up again. So I don't know how accurate it is. See, it's dropped again to 6. So but the most I've seen it, not on this one, but on another one, a wee while ago, like 12. So I mean, as I say, they're doing this live is easier because I didn't hate to go and edit, and I could just do it live and update my channel, get a wee blather with the those that are on it, and then I didn't hate to do any editing or anything. It's just recorded, broadcasted, all in one. But lives, you've got to be careful with the live, because it's, you know what I mean, being alive, there's no rewind button, there's no edit button, and then in a public car park, it's not bad here on a Sunday, but I try get a place where it's, you know, where it's quietish. It's not bad here on a Sunday night, so sometimes the lives could be a bit nerve-wracking because you're not in control in a live. There's no rewind button. There's only the emergency stop, which is that. But yeah, please shout out my name, Guy Max. Guy Max. Thanks for Hello, Guy Max. Jenny. Hi, Jenny. Hello. If you listen closely on the video, when a car drives down Castle Street, it sounds like tyres on cobbles, but it really does look like tarmac. It's a strange one. Yeah, that's the thing about the Mandela effect as well. Oliver Dundee. It's interesting you say that. I'm going to have to listen to that again. But if you're hearing cobbles and seeing tarmac, there is a thing called the Mandela effect. There is a term called Mandela effect residue, where it means, it's quite a complicated one. It means there's like evidence of something that was there that apparently is no longer and never has been. So it's like evidence of the past that was once there before, but that has now changed. That history has now changed, but there's evidence. So it's a difficult one to describe. There's lots of it as well, though. That's how you know. That's how the Mandela effect is noticed through the residue. I mean, I didn't name this phenomenon the Mandela effect. I'll make that clear. I'll also make it clear that I don't know if it's the Mandela effect. I just know that what I experience resembles something that's referred to online as the Mandela effect. I could easily 100% say that because I know what I've experienced, and I could say that it resembles it in a way. I don't actually know if it is. I don't know what causes the Mandela effect. There's tons of theories out there, but I don't know what is actually going on because all the information that I get online is secondhand. But the information that I experience firsthand in this reality, in the 5 sense reality, is my experience of it. And I could say that it relates to, it resembles it anyway. But Mandela effect residue is like, for example, God, I can't believe I'm talking about the Mandela effect when I've got a picture of a banger up on the. I was talking about updating my channels. It's just because I'm getting some chats and kind of like, I didn't expect to be on for so long, but I like to try and go through some of the chats. Mandela effect residue. For example, this one I could actually relate to. I didn't find this one. I found it online, but I didn't discover it and put it out online. I saw it online, and then I could easily relate to it. It's the spelling of the word. I use this one a lot actually because it's easy to explain. It's the spelling of the word Volkswagen. Volkswagen. It used to always be called Volkswagen. The car manufacturer Volkswagen. It was spelled with an O at the end of it. But if you look now, or look indeed anywhere, you'll find it's always had an E. If you look back history, it's always got an E at the end of it. You know, the second last letter is an E instead of an O. But with the residue, online residue, there is still websites, car dealer sites out there that refer to it and spell it as Volkswagen. Now that would be referred to as, that may, and if you're talking about the Mandela effect, that may fall into the category of Mandela effect residue because there's evidence of something that it was apparently it never has been. So you look at the websites in other places and the official spelling is Volkswagen with the second last letter with an E. I'm not going to spell Volkswagen. I know how to spell it, trust me, I just know how it looks, and it does not look right with an E in it. It's always been Wagon, you know, O-N at the end. There's other things, there's tons of them. Oh gosh, I'm sitting in a Ford car. The Ford logo's changed as well. Type in Mandela effect and type in Mandela effect examples and you get hundreds of them. Some I could relate to. I've even added my experiences on my channel about it as well. The cobblestones, because you're hearing it, could be like the 2 realities recording where you could hear the cobbles of the current timeline and visually see another reality where it's tarmac. So they're overlapping and the recordings showing one reality where it's tarmac and the sound audio of it is showing or not displaying but letting you hear another by means of the cobblestones. That song's absolutely bonkers. I know, I can understand that. For those that have never heard of the Mandela Effect, never experienced it, and you'll be wondering why I'm talking about that on this channel. But my channel, by the way, is full of different subjects. It is, after all, a channel update, but primarily was, I mentioned earlier on this about the bangers anyway. But now that this was brought up with the cobbles and talking about this, because this channel was open to anything, well, within reason, obviously, but the subjects I put up are not just one specific. It's not just one thing. There's lots of various things, including the Mandela Effect. Here we go. You're not doing all right, actually. I'm just looking for a bottle of water. Getting a dry throat. Yeah, I've always been into parallel universes. Oh, I hope you're doing all right, Jenny. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I try and get through all the chats, just make sure I haven't left anyone out. Yeah, I've always been into parallel universe and things, and well aware of you're aware of the Mandela Effect phenomenon. Good, at least you know what I'm coming from in it, because I wasn't quite sure if you'd heard of it before, and it's so hard to explain it without, if you didn't hear of it before. And trying to explain something like that is not easy, not easy at all, because it would probably be so easy for you just to think and dismiss it, because I thought it might easily be misinterpreted as being far-fetched or sci-fi, was what a lot of skeptics would put it as, But because I've experienced it, I've always been open-minded anyway, but that doesn't make me biased. I've experienced the Mandela Effect. I can't explain it. I don't even know what it is. I just know that what I've experienced resembled it. What was thought the supernatural could be? Yeah. There's a whole load of things that I've heard of, all that, different frequencies. The David Icke book that I'm listening to at the moment, it's got interesting theories. There's an interesting theory in it. It's mentioned, whether it's a theory, but this is what he mentions anyway, about the frequencies of different things that are going on. In other words, light, visual, what we see with our eyes, just what we're actually able to see, as I understand it from his book, is just a very small aspect of what's out there, because we're only filtering the reality through a 5 sense filter, if you like. So aliens, ghosts, stuff like that, could be other forms of energy, but at a different frequency. So he explained in his book that Wi-Fi, for example, or a radio station, switch a radio station on, tune it into TFM, you'll hear Radio T. But there's so many other stations that are broadcasted at the same time, but you don't hear them. You only hear Radio T. You only hear, for example, if you tune into Radio T, you'll only hear Radio T. You won't hear all the other stations, so therefore you'll only hear Radio T. But the other stations are out there broadcasting. Well, it's something similar to what, from what I understand, from what I've heard and read from his books, is that there's, and I could understand it as well, what he means, if there's other entities out there, ghosts, for example, if they're on a different frequency to what we're seeing. So, for example, I'm sitting here in my car, I could see the car, I could see Tesco's, right? So in this frequency, I could see this reality, right? But if it was a different frequency, if I saw a ghost, for example, right? If a ghost was just there and I saw it, that may be an interference frequency. It may be there may be ghosts all around in different forms of beings, aliens, ghosts, different things happening at this time, but at a different frequency, because our eyes and 5 senses are only filtering out that frequency, like the radio. When you tune the radio into Radio T, it's going to filter out all the other stations, and it's only going to amplify the frequency of radio T. The frequency is broadcast from the mast. There'll be multiple. There'll be lots of different radio stations, but the radio will if you tune it in, the capacitors will tune into the frequency that matches the radio T, and it will amplify it, and then it will put it into speakers, and you'll hear radio T, but you won't hear the others. Well, it's like that, similar to the five sense reality, the eyesight. For it, if you see what you're seeing with light, so I look up there, I can see other cars, car park, but I don't see the ghosts and other entities because my eyes, or this reality, this body's tuned in to this reality. But it doesn't mean that there aren't other beings out there, and even with feelings, touching things like solids, because from what I heard on the theory from his book that I read, the atoms are hollow anyway, they're just energy. You got the nucleus, you got the core, if you break it down, you got quantum physics. So there's nothing there. But for, like in a five sense body, where like a simulator, I suppose, in a way, where we feel something solid through the body. Now, I'm not going to go into this because if you know David Icke, if you've ever heard of David Icke and you saw his books, they are that big. I got one of them. I got one of them from one of the live shows that I went to a few years back. The book is that thick. I can't remember what it was now. Everything you need to know, but never been told. I think it was that thick. So don't think I can explain all that. I don't even know, but I can understand some of the stuff. And I've seen things regarding the Mandela effect. I mean, actually, I saw an odd light in the sky not that long ago. Something that I saw 25 years ago as well. It was like an orange light that just went up and faded out. Now, I only saw this briefly. Now, that doesn't mean automatically that it's an alien spaceship. It is a UFO for me because it's an unidentified flying object. Or it appears to be an unidentified flying object for me. It's not for those that are flying it. They'll know what it is. It can only be a UFO for those that don't know what it is. Unidentified flying object. They too could be different frequency. When you do see them in this reality, it's like imagining your radio station being tuned into radio T, but you have interference. So if you haven't quite tuned your radio station in, you might get interference from another station. So you're hearing maybe 90% of it is radio T, and you might get 10% of another station because it's not quite there. It's interference. Well, that 10% might be like the equivalent of seeing a ghost or something. So you're tuned into this reality through the five sense reality of this body. You know, your eyes, your eyesight and smell. And then if it's an interference coming into this reality, i.e. a ghost or something, then you could see it in this reality faintly. And poltergeist, all that kind of stuff. Now, that's theories that I've heard. I can understand them. I don't know. I do know what I've felt, and I do know what I've experienced, and I know about what I've experienced, about things that have changed, and that I've saw odd things before. It's a fascinating subject, and as you can imagine, I really am into it. So I've just got to drive through it. Oh, that's good. You know what, viewers, I'm going to have to do something for a minute. I don't want to end it quite yet. There's just something I'm just going to need to nip out for a couple of minutes, no more. If you just want to bear with me, I'm going to just leave that. Actually, no. What I'll do is I'm just going to put it down there, right? And I'll be back in a couple of minutes. So if you just want to stick with me for a few minutes, I'll just put this out of sight at the moment because I don't want to. I think inadvertently being recorded. Right, I'll be back in a minute, okay? I just need to go. Sorry to keep you waiting. I really had to nip out for a minute. That's as... Yeah, I'm doing a balancing act. I'm doing a balancing act with the phone. I don't have any... this is in my dad's car. I don't have all the stuff I normally have in my own car. All the stuff I've got that weird. So I've just got to balance it on my jacket. And some bucket of wipes. Just balancing the phone. As a balancing act. I will work. I always get it to work somehow. I needed this. I really did. I was just starting to... not really cold air and that. I've lost all the chats. Oh, shit. Oh, there we go. Can't... Well, right. Jenny... oh, you're doing well. That's good. Good to hear. Yeah, Jenny G, that's good that you're doing fine. Good, good. I like the others chip in. I've enjoyed. Yeah, 1999. Well, that's good. That cobblestone thing is just... Yeah, welcome back. Yes, that, as I say, that cobblestone thing just really... Oh, it's amazing, like, because when I see that, I've looked at that video clearly, and it clearly shows tarmac. It shows something that's impossible, because it was always cobbles, and yet your video shows it, and like you said, you could hear the cobbles as well, which is amazing. That subject I just love, by the way. I really am into that. Yeah. Somebody was asking about the buildings, derelict buildings. Oh, has anybody got any suggestions of any derelict buildings nearby Dundee? Other ones, like, any other ones that I'm not aware of. No, I'll tell you off the knowledge of it. I'll just get this with I had the phone. That was just terrific, that, was it? Great. You could have saw that. I'm losing the thing now. I don't believe this. This is balanced perfectly. No, it's not. Right, okay. So, we got any ideas on any derelict buildings? Because there was somebody mentioning earlier on the chat the derelict buildings. Anybody know any nearby Dundee? There's probably quite a few, like, but I would like to travel around Scotland as well. There is a castle up by Cruden Bay. I was always wanting to have a look at. It's an old ruin, ancient castle. Cruden Bay. Oh no, I've not got a Google on that. It's on there, is it? No, Mains. It's not Mains, but it's sort of like maybe a few miles south of Peterhead. It's right on the north coast. Well, the east coast, northeast. Well, not the Johnny Groats bit, but the Peterhead area. Cruden Bay. There's an old ruined castle there. Cruden Bay. In that area. Can't remember what it's called, no. It's a long way to go, but I wouldn't mind having a look at that sometime. I've always, as I say, had that in mind. Do you believe the old Strathmartin Hospital was haunted? Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, well, there was me, Keane, and the other guy, Channel 156, Cargill, Dave. The three of us went into Strathmartin Hospital in the small hours over 2 years ago now. And it was scary as anything. We went in, the other guy, Dave, he had his app on his phone, or not on that, there's maybe another separate device, but it's one of these devices that could detect the presence of ghosts through frequency. I can't remember what the heck it's called, but basically you could ask the ghost questions and it answers through the device. It translates through this electronic device and you could hear what it's saying. So he brought that with him. My other mate was there. I had my head torch on, I had my other torches, made sure of that. We were there, he asked questions and everything, nothing really happened. I didn't really think anything would. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't go in there on my own anyway, because my imagination runs wild. And yeah, I do feel as though there is something going on. But he did ask, there was at the end, he did ask a question, and he says something about making noise or something if you're there. And we put all our lights out, it was pitch dark in one of the rooms, because we went into one of the, I think it was like a cafe type room. It was, see, Strathmartin Hospital grounds, Strathmartin Hospital covers a lot of ground. There's different buildings all over within the ground. And we went into one of the buildings, probably in about the southwest of the site. We went upstairs and there was like a cafe-like type room. We're sitting in there. I've done a video of it. It's on my channel. It's on my channel way back. I think it's called Strathmartin Ghost Hunt, something like that. But anyway, we turned all the wanted us to turn all the lights out, so we did. We sat, listened in the silence, and we heard a knock. Not a knock, but just something like a sort of like that. And over there, to my left, because it was a bench type, so they were sitting on that side. And there was three of us that was sitting there, so it would have been to their right, to my left, because I was sitting opposite, over in the distance at the wall. It was like a cafe. We all heard a sort of, like, it was like that. Like a, now that could have been anything. It could have been debris falling off the roof, it could have been a rat, it could have been a mouse, it could have been anything. But we did hear something, it spooked us, and we got out. Spooked me anyway. But we heard something, and it was just after he asked the question. However, another thing happened. When we were going down the staircase, mate, Cian behind, he heard a noise. He's got his own channel, by the way. They both got their channels. Both of them. I've got, we're all recording it. But he could have swore he heard something behind him when we were going down the stairs. Now I thought it was because the building's building being derelict, it's in a poor condition. The ends of the stairs, there was like metal bits on the edges of the steps. I thought I caught that in the metal, but it was just springing back because there was a metal bit right at it goes across the edge of the step, and that was peeling off. So as my foot caught that, it stretched it, and it sprung back and made a noise. I thought it was that. However, Cian reckons it was from behind him. The noise you could hear on the video, you could hear it on my video because he highlighted it. So we were going down the stairs after we heard the noise with when Dave was using his device to ask if there were any ghosts and that. We heard that, and then we got all pretty quick. We must have been in the building for about half an hour in total. So once we were on our way out, we also heard that noise. Now I heard a noise and I thought it was just a step, but Cian's adamant he heard it from behind, and you could hear it on the video as well. I thought it was a metal strip. But, so is it haunted? Well, it could be. I mean, definitely I believe there's more to the reality in what what meets the eye. So, like I said earlier about the other entities being in a different frequency, if we're only tuned into this reality and this frequency, but the other frequencies is interfering, it's like interfering radio stations, you could hear them ghosting. It's actually called ghosting. So if you've got a TV set, old telly, if you're tuning in a station, this is old tellies like when you were able to do that. If you didn't tune it in just right, you'd maybe get another station overlapping that, and that was called ghosting for that very reason. Well, it could be like that with the reality we're in. We're tuned into this reality through the five sense body. So if there's like this body being the equivalent to the radio, and we're tuned in on this reality, or our consciousness is in this body which tunes into this reality, because our consciousness is out with is much more. I believe in that. I mean, well, I think we feel there's a lot more to this reality than just what we're. But I can't believe in going on about this on this video. I didn't expect to be doing this. It's because it's a Sunday night and absolutely knackered. I had a busy weekend. I'm just sitting back. Really, I'm tired, and it's just easy to get into all these other conversations. A picture of a barrier talking about all this. I mean, I got the stuff I wanted to mention about the barriers and that earlier on in this chat, or this live rather. But through the chat, there's other subjects came up, so I got talking about all the other things. Oh, can't think of any empty places at the moment I've come across. Yeah, just let me know. Yeah, anything in particular you want to see, if we're able to do it. Any old buildings and that, then yeah, just let us know. I had the rumour that my doctor. Yeah, I heard a lot of horrible rumours as well. Stories about the hospital, Strathman Hospital. People losing or ending, or lives coming to an end. I heard that being mentioned. Yeah, people dying in the hospital. I've heard that. Yep, I've heard it on I've spoke to some people as well in person when I've been nearby it, and I've also researched online, and I've come across stuff saying that just like what was mentioned, so it's quite even just looking at the buildings. I remember saying on one of my first videos, I went up to the grounds on my own and explored it. Didn't go really into any of the buildings. I really felt on edge all the time. And looking at the buildings, have this sort of feeling, not a comfortable feeling. And when I'm back home in the house, and when I'm in my bed, I sometimes get this nightmarish feeling that, I'm back there at the, I'm going to wake up and find myself in the grounds of the derelict building. That kind of keeps me awake. I get their feeling sometimes when I go into buildings like, and nearby spooky buildings. I get the feeling when you're just trying to get to sleep and you're thinking, I keep making sure that I'm still in the room and not woken up or find myself. It's just these kind of horrible, nightmarish kind of things. Well, I was always easily spooked on that. When I ghosts, I always believed there's supernatural things going on anyway. But yeah, it felt spooky. I've heard lots of rumours. I don't know either. Like, I've never had any dealings with Strathman Hospital until I kind of discovered it at the end of. Well, I knew about it. I mean, I knew about the building for a long time. They used to put the 22 bus up that way. I've been at the buses since I was a kid, so I knew the 22, some of them extended out. The 20, what was that time, was the 20 to Downfield. I think that one that extended out was called the 22A. And then, even when I started driving them, they ran the 22 out that way to Strathman Hospital, even though it was closed down, because that, apparently it closed down I believe it closed down in 2003. So, but I've done a video update on that. Actually, they're building houses there. I've done a video just a few months back, just showing what's happening to it. Now I'm meaning to do another update. That's well reminded. I'm going to have to get back up there and do an update on what's happening up at the Strathman area. the grounds to the old hospital, and also the old Odeon Cinema, where they're now building another Home Bargains, which has already won at the Start Leisure, the old Start Leisure Park, which is now the retail park. Oh, there's a big mansion called the House of Grey just outside Dundee. Yeah, I've been there. I haven't been in it, but I've been there. I done that in one of my earlier videos, the old, that's Blue Meanie, it mentioned that. Is that Blue Meanie? Sorry if I pronounced your names wrong, and not English, I'm not that great at words. I just hope I said that right. Blue Meanie. There's a big mansion called the House of Grey just outside Dundee. Yep. That was on the early, I done a video called Closed Down Buildings and Forgotten Streets of Dundee. That was really early on my channel. I've only been doing YouTube videos since April 2020, so not that long really, not that long at all. And that I done a 3-part video called Forgotten Streets. Was it Closed Down Buildings and Forgotten Streets in Dundee? And I think it was the first one that I covered the House of Grey and the Den of Grey. That would have been probably about autumn 2020. It was around about then. I'd done other buildings, but I'd done that one. And I think Strathmartin Hospital, the first time I just actually went up and saw it derelict, was included in that as well, probably on the second or the third one. But that's way back on my channel. Way back. It was quite a popular one actually. A lot of them liked, because I went and done the legwork. I went out and got footage of the old buildings and that. There's an old army base over in Dayport as well. It's easy to just walk. Yeah, aye, the old army base. Is that the one with the big blocks? It's got big concrete blocks, I think. An old, that's buildings. I think I know about that one. Sure, the Dayport Army one. I think I'd done a live Facebook video of that about 2 years ago. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm going to have to bear that one in mind. Well worth mentioning. If you go right down Shanwell Road and just past the bus turns, like towards the Tensmere, there's a few pillboxes and tank traps as well. Pillboxes, that's right, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I've been to that one at Tayport. I've got pictures of that. I don't think I YouTubed it, but I think I done a live Facebook when I was there. But yeah, that was well worth mentioning that. I'll probably go back to it again. I don't know if you've seen my video. I've actually been in the pillbox at Dundee Law, also known as the Law Hill. So Dundee Law. There's a pillbox there, and I was able to. It was open, and I was able to. No, I never opened it. It was already opened, and I was able to go inside, get some footage, and go back out again. But as far as it being opened was concerned, it's a video up anyway. I never opened it. See, I'll never open or break in. Never. If the building or anything like that's open already, then all I could do is go in and get footage and photos, and that's it, back out again. There's always, within reason. I'm not going to go into anything that's open and do that. Obviously, it's within reason. That pillbox has been, you wouldn't even know it was there. It's just tucked in there's a wee trail, and there's woods and that. It's kind of tucked in there. It's difficult. It's absolutely difficult to describe what it is, but I have done a video showing how to get to it. But I got inside that, and I've also got video footage of it. Inside it, it's called, I think the video is titled Dundee Law Pillbox Adventure or something like that. That was last year. But this, or was it early? No, it might have been early on this year, or late last year. So it's quite a bit back. I can't remember just where exactly, but it is certainly there. video, no, what that was. The Paul box. Oh, loads of wee buildings, old buildings out. Forest, but yeah, Paul boxes. There's another Paul box near a place in Fife. Well, there's loads of them here. There's Borrow's Rock or something. I done a video on that a couple of years back. It's just down from Grail. It's on that bit of the coast. There was a rock, Budo Rock. I said Budo Rock. I done a video on Budo Rock. When you walk, that's just off the east coast of Scotland. It's kind of like between St Andrews and Crail. There's a rock. Just big, huge rock. It's an unusual looking thing. Sticking up, it's probably about 100 foot tall or something. It's massive. It's called Budo Rock. I've done a video on that. And if you're walking towards St Andrews on that coast, with Budo Rock being on your right then, because the sea is on your right hand side, you go up about, I think it's about half a mile or something, and there's a Paul box there as well. I also got that covered on a video, well, it's in the same video. There's loads of these Paul boxes, lookout boxes. There's a good few of them up at, well, stuff similar to that related to the war, right up at John O'Groats on the northeast corner of Scotland. That's it, it's up Duncansby Bay, right at the northmost corner of Britain, in fact. There's a lot of these old Second World War buildings that are disused. Small buildings. There used to be some up at Craigillow Hill at the foot of it, but they demolished them. So radio buildings or something. But they were right at the foot of Craigillow. There is still one further up, or halfway up. That would have been the water tank to supply these. It was something to do with the war. It was the World War II buildings. Craigillow Hill, part of the Sidlaw Hills, which is on the north boundary of Dundee. But they demolished them. I mean, they were derelict since the war ended, and cattle just used them, cows and stuff. Cattle just went in, that was a shelter. But only fairly recently, just a few years ago, they demolished them completely. However, there is still a building on Craigillow Hill further up, which was the house, the water tank to supply these buildings further down. That's still there. I'd done a video on that, but the time the buildings were demolished, that was before I'd done YouTube videos, so I'll never cover that one. But right at the top of Craigillow, there's masts, which I think had something to do with the military as well at that point. Right, lookout buildings. Yeah, lookout buildings, that's it, yeah, lookout buildings. Yeah. Aye, yeah, believe me, yeah, you can check them out. Craigillow, well, the ones that were at the bottom are gone, but as we go through you could drive up to a point where there's a gate, basically, you've got the farm and there's a gate. You won't get through that. If the gate's open, then go through it, because you might go up and find it's locked when you come back down. But you could drive, so you'll probably know where it is then, but if you don't, you could park just before the gate. Not just before the gate, there's a turning, but make sure you're not blocking the road. If the road kind of goes up a wee bit, you'll know what I mean. You'll kind of what I mean. There used to be a stile, there's now a gate. You just walk up halfway, it's on the right hand side, you've got the masts right at the top. So the tarmac road that goes up to the masts, you just continue up there for about quarter mile. And if you look to your right, you'll see two small buildings just in the middle of nowhere in the field, kind of like not really halfway up, but a third of the way up. And one of them's a water tank. The other one, you could get down to it actually. No, I wouldn't go down it, but you could. There's sort of ladders that go down to this big building. Not big building, but the bigger of the two buildings. like a manhole cover. It goes down in the building, and I think people have been in it, and sure, rusty ladders will go down. I ain't going down it because there's no windows in anything. If that ladder breaks, you're going to be stuck, and there's no danger in going in that. I could probably get a camera, an old one or something, put it on a long stick, and put that down it. You know, just record it that way with a light on it. I could do that, but there's no danger in me going down there. Like, even when I was adventurous, when I was a lot younger, I still had this fear about being locked in or trapped. You know, I never ever, I know, put myself in danger. Some people, it seems that some people have been in there, obviously have, you know, put themselves at that risk, even though there's more than one of them. If that ladder breaks, you're stuck, you know. It's a big old abandoned. There's a big abandoned mansion house near Loch Lantrathen. Oh, was there? A big near a village called Cowley. Still got a old 70s cars parked in it. Whoa, what? I'm going to have to make a note of that. Like, the thing is, though, I've got to be, you see, like, if there's cars and stuff there, you kind of, you have to research. You can't, there's no way I would just go into someone's property. I've got to be sure that it's no longer being occupied. It's been, you know, there's no any valuables, or I couldn't just walk into someone's. If it's clearly a derelict for me and there's nothing there, then I've got to research into that, but I didn't know about that. There's a big abandoned mansion house near. Yeah, old 70s cars parked there. There's an old car I saw, an old 70s car I saw abandoned at the foot of King's Seat Hill, which is part of the Sidlow Hills. Well, when there's sort of like between, there's a hill, you got King's Seat, there's a hill to the, maybe the north of it, I think. Sidlow's kind of sweep down like that, but you've got King's Seat, to the left of King's Seat or the south of King's Seat, there's a hill called Black Hill. Well, it's the other one to the opposite side. There's more of a flatter summit on it. Well, between the two hills, further down, there's an old disused, not disused, well, yeah, it is now, it's an old, it looks like possibly a Triumph Dolomite or something, an old brown one. I've got a picture of it. This was a few years back, like, there's no way it's going to be getting recovered because of where it is. But that's what that reminded me of, just reading what you mentioned there. Yeah. Very interesting, that. Very interesting. Well, that's me off. That's for his way. Yeah, I'm going to be going as well. I can't believe I've been on this 2 hours. Jeez. 2 hours. Blooming heck, I really couldn't believe it. It's because I'm just so tired, I just can't be bored. That's what it is, I'm just so tired. I had a busy weekend. A really busy weekend. I just can't be bored. Oh yeah, well, catch you later, Jenny. Thanks for joining in on this. It's good speaking to you, I suppose, or good texting you, or whatever you call it. Nice seeing you, take care. Yeah, I'll have to bear that one in mind. But I have to, obviously, as I say, make sure that I can't go in, I wouldn't do anything that I shouldn't I shouldn't go in them anyway, but if it's still occupied with 70s motor, what sort of condition are these cars in? I mean, is it clearly been derelict for donkeys, for decades, like, you know. Yeah, that's what's bearing that in mind, I saw some old buildings when I was down at the Talbot Steelworks on my Welsh excursion. Big old factory, but as I was on my own, like, I couldn't just go in. It was huge if anything happened. There was also one in Barrow and Furnace as well, big old part of the shipyards, an old building there. That was on the video. Barrow and Furnace, Actually, that was that building that was referring to, the derelict building in Barrow and Furness, was on the old shipyard building. That was on my English excursion episode 2, I think it was. Episode 2. No, it was episode 8 because I came. That's right, it was episode 8. The last of, there was an 8-part series. Just type in England excursion 8, Barrow and Furness on my channel. You'll see that building I was talking about. It's a red brick building. I didn't really go in it, but I just showed what it looked like on the outside. I would have been, if there was more people with me, well, if there was other people, I was on my own, so if there was others with us, I would have been interested to have a look at it. It's called, what the hell? There's a few videos on YouTube. Oh, right. It's definitely abandoned, but I didn't go. Right. Okay, thank you for letting me know about that one. Yeah, I'm going to look at the videos. I've read what you've put. Thank you. Interesting. There may be another YouTube video going up again. Somebody might just have put one up now as I spoke. Who knows? Somebody might be adventuring it now. Yeah, I'll remember that. Yeah, good, as long as it's definitely abandoned, then myself in there, have a look. Yeah, there's just loads of, there's places down in England that is miles away. I even saw some when I was other ones as well when I was down on my Wales excursion. But I wouldn't dare go inside those size of buildings I'm on. I mean, I've been in some small houses. There's one up at up north of Scotland. There was an area where I went to for a holiday. There was a old disused house, and this was a disused house. I went and explored that, but this is like 20 years ago. So I didn't do YouTube or anything like that. I've only got maybe just a handful of photographs. I've been there, I've been back in the area since, but I've been boarded up. The building was in a dangerous condition. That's something that's got to be considered carefully though if you go into these old buildings, is the condition of them. Like, you know, the floor and the roof. Even if you go up a set of stairs or something and you slip and you grab onto something, what you grab onto might cause on a chain reaction, might pull something else over. It could cause, you know, the banister or a weak fixture could crumble and it could cause something else to collapse. It could just be a recipe for disaster. You've got to be really careful with these sort of things, you know. Footwear as well, you know, you got to be watching what you stand on, like nails with planks of wood with nails sticking up. You know, you got to be really careful with that as well. Like, but I'd have to. I would like to explore more soon. There's an old nuclear bunker near Linchatham. Nuclear bunker. The hatch was open when I saw it. Old rusty ladder. Nah, that's the thing. You see, you wouldn't anything like that. I mean, I wouldn't be. I'm not that crazy. I'm not that brave to go down to something like that. You know, anything with rusty ladders. I like to know where my exits are, and I can get to them. I don't like to have to depend on something to get out, like a ladder or climb over a window. I just like an escape route that I could easily escape out of. Not one where I've got to depend on having to climb over something or use a ladder to get down or up or whatever, you know. I don't want any of that on my escape route. I always like to know, and I always like to see my escape route when I go into these places, and be aware of it. And if I can't see that one, as long as I can see others, that's what I like when I go into them. Some people go into way deeper than what I'd ever dare. That abandoned urban explorer, I think. I mean, these guys obviously know what they're doing. That's why they're able to do what they do, come out of it and tell the story and do so many, because obviously they're experienced I'm not really that expert. I'll be honest, I've done a bit of a band of work, so I wouldn't say I'm not experienced. Yeah, I've experienced. I've done, because before I'd done YouTube, I used to do that sort of stuff anyway, especially the Whitfield scarring blocks. So yeah, I was a bit of an urban explorer in a way when I was a lot younger. A lot faster and fitter, and I was always cautious. I was always careful and cautious, and I always had that in mind that I needed to know where the exits were. And if I didn't see one, I needed to know where the next one was. I would never let myself get trapped in a corner where there's only one exit and then have my back to it, or be in an area where it could be. I just can't do that. You know, if I go in a room and there's only one exit, well, there is in most cases, but you know what I mean. If I could look at the window, then I need to know and gauge how high up it is, because if I need to get the window as well, then I would have that as an option. Or how wide the exit is. I need to be able to know I could get to that exit before somebody else does. So if I know where the other exit is and how long it would take somebody or someone to get from that exit to the one in it, if I'm in a room, or different rooms in a building where there's more than one room, I need to know that I could get to the exit in it before somebody could run to the exit and block me in. I need to know that I could get out before somebody could lock us in, basically. In a nutshell. But some people, like when I was in Queen Park Industrial, Queen Park Housing Estate, Port Glasgow, there was a building derelict. One of the doors were ripped open, but there was a metal door in its place with a lock on it. Now the other two went in. I couldn't go in. They went in, they didn't mind, but I couldn't do it because I fear that somebody could lock us in. So I stayed put by the door. I say I can't go in something like that. Some do, but I can't, because there's the possibility there that somebody could lock us in. There's a padlock. It's a gate. There was a bars gate, like sort of set up metal ones. Somebody could easily just close the door or barricade it or wedge it shut. That's why I didn't go in it. All the other ones that I went in, there was no door on it. I was kicked in already, or the boards were ripped off. And I knew how long the building was, so I knew that I was further up in the closey, so I would hear anybody coming up from the outside up the stairs. I would hear that, and I would have enough time to get from the furthest point of that room to the door before somebody could get from the closey door up to the house sitting in. You know, stuff like that. If it was up a level, and if need be, I could. Sounds easier than said easier than it sounds. You could jump one of the windows, or I always like to know that's the first thing. I was like to know my escape route, because it just scared me. Otherwise, it's always like that. I always needed to know how to get out. When I was younger, I used to always be there if there was any noise or anything like that. I was always the first one out. Like, I was fast, very fast. But I wouldn't leave anybody behind because they were very quick as well. Some of us were just kids. We used to do all sorts, climbing buildings. We used to go in the old hospitals. It was probably worse. Well, no, I wasn't really. See, my dad, he drummed a lot of the safety stuff into me when I was younger. But I remember going to an old hospital. There was an old derelict hospital in about, well, not a big hospital, but it was around about the Blackness Road area, or the Perth Road area. This was way back in the 80s. And other mates just went in. Like, I was always sort of wanting to go in, interested in going, but I was always more cautious. Always have been, natural warrior. But I can't remember what it was called. It was a disused building. That's before I had cameras and that. Well, camera phones, sorry. Didn't have any mobiles back then. This was in the 80s. I can't remember what the heck it was called. It's in about the Perth Road area, bottom of Glams Road, in about that area. Of Dundee, by the way, if you know Dundee. Oh, spoil I better get going. Oh, I just got my bed again. Can't be bothered doing anything. No, too tired. That's the thing. I was just sitting back, relaxing, because I had a busy weekend this weekend. I just can't be bothered moving though. I was just saying a blather with you on here. We channel update. So yeah, as I say, I'll get the videos put up soon. The Banger Race ones. The Banger Race season is nearly finished for this year up in Scotland. England still run some bangers all year round. There is another banger race meeting at the Racewell in Kilnbeath. It's usually the van bangers, and it's about the second Sunday of January. I'll try and get to that if I'm not working or anything else. The season starts up again next year, round about spring, late February, March, anyway that time, for both Lochgelly and Kilnbeath. Crimond Raceway, they never really run anything throughout the winter months because they don't have any of the floodlighting. So Crimond Raceway will always run their races during the daylight hours, normally on a Sunday. Starts on a Sunday afternoon and finishes about, in the summer it could go on about 6 or something, 6 or 7, 6 o'clock, depending on how big the meeting is, but it's always done during the daylight hours because there isn't any floodlights to light up the track, whereas the other ones do have floodlights. So, and of course Crimond coming in now with the clocks go back in the hour, it'll be virtually impossible for anything to run after November. It'll be really difficult because then it gets dark about 4ish, so it means you'd have to start racing about 11 in the morning and stuff. They never do that. It's usually 12 or 1. So Crimond's more limited because it doesn't have any floodlighting. And it's so far away as well. If you're from, well, it's so far, it's so far north. I like it. I like going north. There's long drives, 100-mile drive from Dundee, just over. But I used to go up that way for my holidays actually, and a relative that stayed in a village called Mintlaw. Used to go up there during my primary school holidays back in the 80s. A place called Hatton as well, which is all in that proximity of Peterhead. It's north of Aberdeenshire. So I know that area that way for that. What nostalgic memories up that way. It's a lovely bit of the country as well. The Grampian, Aberdeenshire area. There was another thing I was up Peterhead for. It was the old prison, the Peterhead prison. It's now a museum. That sounded a bit off, didn't it, when I said I was up there for prison? No, I wasn't in prison, but it's opened as a museum. The old Peterhead prison. It shut down about 2013, and 3 years later, 2016, it's now been turned into a tourist attraction. It's now like a museum, so you could go in, you could look around the cells, some of them, through the corridors, everything, and it's like they've set it back in, they've got artefacts to make it look like it's set back in the day when it was like 70s, 80s and that, 90s. It's got some of the rooms have got the old really old beds when it was first built, I think back in the 1800s. There's a cell that's got what it would maybe like back then. Some of the other cells, like during the riot, that 1986 riot, I think it was 1986, 1987 Peterhead prison riots. There's some of the cells that are sort of reenacting what it was like during the riot. Like, there's some of the what the cell was like after the that sort of time period. there is like artifacts and stuff in the Peterhead prison, like a bit like, well, you know, the museum information boards and photographs at that time. So if you're up Peterhead Way and you're interested to have a look have a look at if you want to see what it's like inside Peterhead, the old Peterhead prison, then you can, because it's open to the public now, has been since 2016. I was up there doing a video of the Peterhead Prison Museum, as it is a museum now. I've done a video of that 2 years ago, I think, inside. It's on my channel. So if you don't want to drive all the way up to Peterhead, you could have a look on my channel and see my video of the footage I taken when I visited it. Nuclear bunker, that's sorry, just looking at that. Bloomini, do you know about there's a Scotland's secret bunker? It's opened up in Fife. It has been for a while now. It's a tourist attraction. It used to be an old nuclear bunker. It's not far from Anstruther. It's actually called. It's the sign posted for Scotland's secret bunker, and you could go right. You go through the big long tunnel because you're going underground. You see, and there's 2 levels to it, and it's all again. It's set in that time capsule. So all this stuff there is set back in the day. Not all, some of it's set earlier, in the 60s, I think, and some of the artifacts are set back as far back as in the 90s, because I think they declassified it in 1993, I think. So all the stuff there is still in it to make it look like it's, still in operational use. They've got sound effects, they've sort of brought it alive. You've got like radios going, and as if to give you the atmosphere as to what it was like when it was actually in use, and what they reckon it would have been like if there were a nuclear attack. So all that's going on. Sound effects. They've got mannequins and dressed in the soldiers' uniform, and they've got like charts when the RAF charts, I think it was, big sort of coordination boards and logistical boards where they would see them back in these days with a big illuminated screen, when they would have a pointer saying, well, this is where the planes fly from there to there. You see it on films and that. Well, all that is all that's on there at the Scotland secret bunker. It's well worth a visit. There's a couple like small cinemas. They used a couple of rooms and kitted it out to have it's a projector show that's explaining a bit about the bunker and a bit about nuclear war and all the rest of it. All that's included in the bunker as well. I've been there a few times now. Like, you wouldn't even know it was there. It's because it's underground. That's meant to be concealed, obviously. The farmhouse on the top, you would just think it was an ordinary. You wouldn't even know there was a bunker. That's how it's meant to be, eh? But that farmhouse is the actual entrance to the bunker. It has the gift shop and everything as well. And then from there you go down a set of steps, and then that's you lower down. And then there's a big long corridors that go right down to the bunker. But on the outside, on the surface, they've got all the military stuff there. They'll have that now, obviously, because it's a museum. I mean, they wouldn't have that back when it was classified, because it would give it away. So it would just look like an ordinary farmhouse. You wouldn't think anything of it. Well, that's the idea. But you can't miss it now. It's all signposted, and when you get there's all the military stuff on the outside, and tanks and missile, obviously not live ones, but all the ammunition and that. It looks really interesting, well worth a visit. It's not that dear either, it's usual sort of price to get into a museum, kind of. Oh, there we go. I enjoyed watching the video about the Balgay Bridge. Oh, the Balgay, yeah. Epic traditions, yeah. I done the Balgay Bridge ghost walk. That was a while ago. I done about 3 of them actually. I done them on my own as well. There was one time I brought up a couple of mates we used to do it with us, but there was 3 of them on different videos. I done them on my own. I walked from the road at the bottom under the bridge. I parked there and I left the side lights on the car just as a marker. So I knew how to get back. Well, I knew how to get back, but it's pitch dark, remember, but I just like to leave the side lights on for another reason as well, just so that nobody tries to do anything to it, because in the dark, if you see a car with the side lights on, the idea is to put people off trying to do anything to the car. If it was just sitting there in the dark there with no lights on, then you always get this feeling that they're going to, they could break in or whatever. So I left them on for that, and also so I could see the side lights there, and I could see where my car is, and I could know where I am, because it's all pitch dark. I went up to the cemetery, the Mills Observatory. I walked right up there via the bridge at Balgay in the small hours of the morning. It was about 12 o'clock, just after 12, and I didn't have a head torch at that time. I just had a handheld torch. That was it. And I just recorded on the camcorder, the old camcorder that I used to use in my earlier videos, and I stuck it on infrared. The quality, it was in black and white because it was in infrared, but it was bloody nerve-wracking, I'll tell you that. It was really quite scary. The thing is, I'd rather do that than go in an old building no more, and I wouldn't do that. The dark building, no way. But because I was outside, and I had a fair idea where everything is anyway. So, I wasn't daft. I wasn't going to do something that I couldn't do, but I knew I could do that, and I'd done it. But it was quite nerve-wracking. Really, genuinely was. So, your senses, all your senses are just heightened. Everything's heightened. That's how it is, you go into survival, because your body, that's what you're human, that's just your human instinct. When you're nervous and you're in a place like it's dark, it heightens all your senses, so you're more aware, act more quickly. I'm going to have a sore throat tomorrow. Yeah, Scotland Secret, but that's it. Scotland Secret Bunker is great. Have you been to the bunker? Sometimes. Oh, the Craigie Bank. Have they? Oh, yeah. No, I ken there's some others, but no. I'm glad you mentioned that. The Craigie Bank one. I would like to look into that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It just reminded me that there's tunnels under the Dundee Law as well. I'd like to adventure them. Officially though, I mean, there's no danger of going there unofficially. I wouldn't do that. As long as there's an established official, an established explorer, that would just be brilliant, to go in the tunnels under the Dundee Law. The old tunnels. Yeah, I've seen the video, I remember seen this, I remember it. Ah, that's right, yeah, the headlights, I forgot. I was genuinely quite scared. But even though I know where everything is, during the day, no problem, I know where everything is. But that was the first time I'd done that video at night, to do that Daredevil thing. Was the first time I'd ever done it on my own at night. It was genuine. For some reason, I felt kind of a false sense of security, because I had the camera on record. I don't know why that is. I think it's just because it took my mind off it. If I didn't have that, I'd probably just be, I don't think I would have managed as well. It's because I had the camera there. I don't know why, I just felt better with it. And if I was on a live, I'd probably feel even more secure. Although I wouldn't do it because I remember before I'd done lives, I actually done it three. I was in the car. I was driving around all over the place, thinking this is great. I could show you all this stuff. I went to went to Blairgowrie, went to the Standing Stones and just outside Blairgowrie, with the one with the road running through it. Then I got a message there saying, "Have a look at the old abandoned bridge up at just outside Cooper Angus." I done all that. I think this was on a live, but the quality was utter shite because I was moving all the different areas. Because I was the first time, I was doing lives, and the quality was crap. So I've learned just not even to bother. I've learned to stay stationary when I do a live. If I move around like this when I do a live, that'll just pixelate on there because it doesn't keep up with the bitrate or something on this device. And if I'm driving or if it's changing in light, all that affects the live. It makes it pixelate because it's a movement. Anything with motion that appears to be motion, it just seems to have a lag. It distorts it. It comes out of squares. So driving or walking around, anything like that, forget it. Well, certainly my experience, it just comes out like crap. It's not a good idea to do a live whilst driving anyway, because it's for two reasons. It's maybe not a good idea, because if anything goes wrong when you're driving, you've got it recorded. So I probably wouldn't do that again, even if it did have a good quality. It's not wise. There's no rewind button. It could be slightly distracting, so it's not a good idea. When you're wandering the streets doing a live, there's no rewind button. Anything could happen. If you're doing lives, my advice and experience is do it in a controlled environment where I've got some sort of control of what's going on, and I know where the stop button is. But when out there doing lives, it's maybe not. So if I was to do an adventure like go across a dark bridge or up to Balgay or something like that in the middle of the night, and I was on a live, I'd feel more secure. You'd see nothing because it'd be pitch dark anyway, but I feel better knowing I've got that sort of company. Although I was recording on my early ones, I felt somehow, I just seemed to have false. I took my mind off it. It felt better. But if I didn't have that, all my senses just, imagination would run wild. I don't think I could do it. So, I try to see that. I can't, because there's an arrow right there. I can't read that comment until this arrow decides it's going to move. There's a blue arrow. I don't know if any of you've probably done lives, you might not, I don't know, but if anybody's done a YouTube live where the chats are, there's a blue arrow. Well, actually there's a blue circle with a white arrow, and it's right over the chat. I can't move it. Sometimes it goes away and I can read it, but I can't even scroll up and down. I still don't know why it does that, I can only just see bits of it, but I have to wait till it decides I'm going to get to read it. But oh god, I've been on this for this length of time. I'm just that tired. For a busy weekend, I had a busy week actually, because I worked 7 days in a row, 4-day week duties. See, what 4-day week duty means is that I still work the same hours as your regular 5-day week duty, but what they do is they compress it into 4 days, so the days are longer. Well, I'd done 7 of them in a row. Then I only had 1 day off, which was jam-packed with stuff, busy. Then I had another 5 shifts to do after that. And then I had my 5 days off. First 2 days I was busy, up early, both of them. Friday I was knackered when I decided to do a video. That was the mast investigation that I'd done. On Saturday, yesterday, I was up at the barrier racing for 6 hours. Today, barrier racing again, 6 hours. Back to work tomorrow. 20 to midnight is just... You probably watch me sleeping on live. I'm just tired. It's easy just to scroll through that and just have a blather with you. I just can't be arsed moving. But I've been up Balgay Bridge at 1 AM. Yeah, it is just bloody scary. I was round about that time I went up there on my own. I think I'd done a midnight cruiser as well. That's another series that I do on my channel. I've got a few series now, of course. I think one of the early ones, the midnight cruisers, I went up to Balgay and done one of these adventures. But it's got to be after midnight, hence the name Midnight Cruiser. And it's just, it's scary. I heard about the White Lady or something. The bridge is haunted. I remember hearing that for the 80s. In fact, one of my mates, one of my schoolmates back in these early days, saw one of my videos and actually remembers us doing that. He commented and said that we used to do that because we heard about the bridge being haunted, and there must have been about 7 or 8 of us, and even with that, we were still pretty scared. Mind you, we were a lot younger. I mean, I was during the 80s. But I was always into that. I always liked these adventures, these scare things. Like the old school, well, not the old school, Muniso High School, when it was dark at night. I remember once I heard we used to climb on the roof and everything. This was 1988, I think it was 1987. So I was in first year, I was 12. I was in first year at Muniso High School. And there was a few of us, right? We used to climb on the roofs because it was pitch dark. And we used to think it was haunted. We used to see these figures in the distance. I still remember it to this day, where the railings were at the PE block between that and the science corridor. Like there was somebody standing like that, just not moving. I was fascinated in that. I mean, the others lost interest. The other mates, they kind of had their buzz, and that was it. They lost interest, but I was obsessed with it, you know. And even when they all went in and that was like, you had to go in as well. But, you know, a lot of times they'd done their things, football and stuff like that. I was more wanting to do the kind of paranormal stuff like that, ghosty stuff. It'd be me that'd always bring it up. That doesn't make me biased, by the way, with the Mandela effect. But I always wanted to do that kind of thing, you know. It'd be me that brought up these ideas. It was better than that. I mean, I prefer to do that. But I was never really. I mean, football I never really got into it. I was sure I was fit. I mean, I didn't do that. Rugby and that at the school and that, but yeah, but I was never really one for football. I'd rather do something along the lines of the paranormal stuff, ghost stuff. That would always get me interested. It was always me, but I got right into that sort of stuff. Like, you know, I used to go back there, even on my own, not into it, but just to see if I could see what happened. There was one time I went up to the old school at night, small hours, not small hours, wasn't allowed out that late at that time, but it was a Friday night, Saturday night, they were allowed out late, as long as I was with my mates. It was quite ironic, really, because I was quite big for my age. They would probably think I was an adult anyway. They used to ask me to go and get them, or get his fags and get his drinks, stuff like that. He always used to get pestered to do that. Because I looked older for my age. But I was allowed out late on the weekends, and as long as I was with someone else, like when I was that age, like, you know, I was only 12, 13. But we had this. We went to the school grounds and we went to the science corridor. Not in it, but just outside it, under the staircase. And we heard a radio or something. It was pitch dark. And we heard all these ghost stories and stuff. And there was nothing at first. They had the boilers behind for the big chimney for the swimming pool, because there was a swimming pool there. That's where I learned to swim. And so we heard that going on. But also heard this noise, like a radio, faintly. And as soon as we heard that, we ran. And when we started running, it'd be the first one out, because we all ran fast, but I was a fast runner. And I didn't hang around. Did not hang around. I'll never forget that. I was under the staircase going to the science corner, for those that remember Muniso High School, but that between that and the PE block, if anybody watched this at any point later on. But spooked me, like. But then with other thrills and that, but I'd always want to keep doing that. That would be the thing I like. There's things I liked, was the adventure things like hide and seek, climb on roofs, stuff like that. I climbed the Muniso water tower. That was quite something. There was scaffolding there. I was never one for football. Sometimes I would go on about that. But I'd rather do the paranormal ghost stuff and stuff, things like that. I kind of got drawn away. I mean, I got into buses around about that age as well. Not many kids were into buses. I can assure you, I was one of the few that were into buses. So I kind of like steered into that direction towards. They done all their things like going and get drunk and whatever else, and being underage and fighting, smoking, that kind of thing. I never ever smoked. Never have. Never in my life. But no, but when we did used to get together, we used to do these things, adventures and that as well. We used to go to. I say a lot of it was climbing up buildings and roofs and going to rooftops, and if there were old buildings, we would go in it. Although I was always exercised. I was always worried, I needed to know how to get out and all the rest of it. But at the same time, I wanted to go in. I was adventurous, I'll tell you that. I always like that. And I still got that. I mean, I still want to do that. But I've lost me the chat. So, videos have we got? Oh, what videos have we got planned? Oh, man. I've been at Belgate Bridge about 1 a.m. Yeah. Sorry, Epic traditions. What videos? I've got a few planned epic traditions. I've got the banger race videos at the weekend. Just the weekend has just passed there. Then Saturday, Sunday, I watched the banger racing World Cup on the Saturday. That video will be going up when I get it compiled. I watched the banger racing the day for the Scottish Cup at Lochgelly Raceway. I'll get that compiled and put up as soon as possible. I just done a short video, footage of the big wheel done at the Slessor Gardens. I'll get that compiled and put up on my channel soon as well. But I've got other things as well, but I will be getting that done for sure very soon. So I've got a lot planned. I'll be going down to England. I'm hoping to go down to at least Oxford, and if I could get Blackpool and Bath in as well, I'll go there too and get footage of that. For Oxford, I want to go down for, as I mentioned earlier, before they bring all this 15-minute city car. I want to learn about this stuff as well. As much as I don't like freedom, I hate the idea of my freedom has been taken away, this 15-minute city. I want to learn first-hand and see what it's like first-hand in these places before they introduce all this. It's like this 20-mile-an-hour speed limits as well. It's like a war on freedom. But anyway, I was walking across that bridge in the late 80s, about 2 a.m. Yeah, it's quite scary when that hearing things like that, crying and nothing being. That's a spooky story. Quite yeah. Can't get that bottom one because of arrows there, but I'm gonna have to get going. As much as I just want to sit here, I'm gonna have to go. I can't believe I've been on this long. I think I'll just get this next chat and then I'm going to really need to head off. I haven't even had my tea. So I'll go home, I'm just going to have my tea, then go to my bed. Well, I've got a shower as well because I still smell the petrol fumes from the banger racing, all the burning rubber and everything. That's one thing you'll notice if you go to the stock car banger races and spectating for so long as you're close, you'll smell all the fumes and burning rubber and all that, because it's just constant, you come home and you stink of it. It's almost like you've been racing yourself, but all the cars that race there, the a lot of the exhaust systems have been the bangers, a lot of them are just removed anyway, and the catalytic converters and that are next to useless, they'll be all missing or damaged or whatnot. So you're just getting raw engine fumes. 10 years later, she found out. Yeah, it's a lot of ghosty stuff. Like, yeah, we used to work at the Dundee Port Authority. Yeah, there's just ghost stuff's quite amazing. Like, it's fascinating. I've always been fascinated and all that. Yeah, there is a lot going on, like, a lot of strange things going on in the sky. I mean, I see it a lot today, as I was driving into Fife going towards the raceway. It was a clear day, lovely day, but they've got these trails. Now, I've heard of chemtrails, contrails, whatever. At this stage, I'll just call them trails. I just don't want to say too much on I've got to watch what I say. But yeah, I've heard of this. I've heard of chemtrails, and there's just the lines going like this and everything in the sky, and then suddenly there's clouds and everything. I noticed that earlier today. It was just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. I've got loads of pictures of stuff like that. The planes, supposedly squiggly lines in the sky. I've got photos and footage of that on my channel. So if you look at my Quest series, that's another series I've got on my channel, is it? Quest. That's all about bizarre stuff and strange stuff. The video I just put up yesterday, I don't know, the day before, Friday it was about me investigating the red mast light, navigational light phenomena, the red navigational lights on the mast, on Angus transmitter mast. Well, it looked like there was red navigational lights on the monument on the top of Dundee Law 4 weeks ago from the viewpoint at Wormwood Bay. And that intrigued me because I thought there's never been any red navigational lights on the monument on the Dundee Law. So I started driving off from Wormwood Bay, and as I was going through Newport, I started seeing there was more lights, and I started to think, well, it could just be the Angus transmitter mast behind the Law Hull making it appear, an optical illusion, that there's lights on the monument. But I went up to the Law anyway, up the top of Dundee Law anyway, just to confirm. And I was right, it was the Angus transmitter mast behind it. However, the Forfar transmitter mast, as it's now called, was switched off. Now, I don't even remember it being called Forfar transmitter, but that's for another story. But that's what it's referred to now as. That's the big mast structure. They've got the Grampian Angus transmitter TV mast, and you've got a mast like that to the east of that, it's now called the Forfar transmitter mast. And all the lights are off it. I've been for weeks. Now, it's unusual for a structure of that size to have lights off, mast lights off. But anyway, another story. Back to the original. 4 weeks later, I was back at Wormwood Bay. It was just a couple of days back. And I was wanting to check out this phenomena again. Turns out, where I was at 4 weeks earlier, where I only saw 2 lights, I was now able to see 3 lights. And that was obvious, it was Angus transmitter mast. But the strange, puzzling thing was, as I've explained in my video that I put up, is that 4 weeks prior, where it only showed 2 lights, it's now showing 3 lights. Now, why would that be? Well, I thought, well, it could either be something that's blocking it in the view. So I went there during the day, the following day, to see if there's anything obvious that would cause that. Took the binoculars as well. It appears that there isn't. The only thing that obstructs the view of the Angus transmitter mast is the Law Hull and the Dundee Law with the trees on it. Now, within the 4 weeks that passed, the only thing that might change on the trees is leaves coming off it because it's in autumn. So I went up and had a look at the trees. It's not really the right type of trees that would do that. It was like pine trees and other trees that don't really change that much. It didn't look as though they changed enough in the last 4 weeks to cause it. Now, there wasn't any buildings or anything like that that would cause that. All the Angus transmitter mast lights were on 4 weeks ago, so there wasn't any lights on that were missing. So I still can't understand how, when I go back to Wormwood Bay, well, when I went back just 4 weeks after it, that I was able to see the 3 lights. I can't understand that at all. And when I think back on it as now, again, I can't understand why I would have mistook the Angus transmitter for being on, the navigational lights, showing that on the Law Hull, or the Dundee Law Hull monument. Because I've been to Wormwood Bay many times before, many times over the years, at different light levels, different times of the years, and I've never made that observation before. So how come if I suddenly made that observation then? It's odd. A lot of odd things happened in that, but I won't go on about it now. I'm going to have to end this video. But if you look at the video that I put up just prior to this one, the actual video, not a live, then you'll see the video that I mean. Okay, I'm going to have to go. I'll just round it off at this. So I thank everybody for watching and joining in the chat. It's nice speaking to you, I suppose, as I could call it. Nice talking to you all. Hope you all do well. You're doing alright. Just look after yourselves, take care, and see what else I put on my channel. I'm going to have to go. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.